like I said, I'm not going to call it a reservation, but it is something to be aware of. And that is the tokenomics. So Zora, they put their article on their support page and they basically show like who got what tokens, right? 20% went to the community, 10% went to for airdrops, 5% is for liquidity. So this is like basically when you go into a decentralized exchange, having the liquidity to swap, they locked it on there so people can trade, but also everyday people like, you know, myself and Basejunkie can provide our liquidity as well. So that raises it. But they just seed it, right? 20% goes to the treasury, 18% to the team, 26% for the investors. So now when you raise money from investors, they have a fiduciary responsibility to generate returns for their limited partners, right? And typically what happens is they have what's called vesting schedules and cliffs. A cliff, the most common scenario is a 1-year cliff, 4-year vesting. A cliff is the period of time at which you can't even touch your tokens. Investing is how they're unlocked. So if you have like $100 vesting over 4 years, that means every year you're able to unlock $25 and you can sell it or hold on to it. But like I said, they have a fiduciary responsibility. So it's a high likelihood that they're going to take some profits because they got in at a much lower valuation. So as soon as their tokens are unlocked, most of the time they're able to take profits immediately. So you can see who got what. And now if you go on this side, because, you know, sometimes they'll make it confusing. Like they'll say 12 months. It's like, okay, what month are we in right now? So sometimes you got to do some digging. So this site shows like the best tokenomics graph.
Is this a free website that people can check out?
Yep, this is free.
Okay.
Yep, this is free. Crypto Rank, they used to be free. That's a really good one too. And they show you like who they raise money from and all that stuff, but they just started charging. But you know, you can usually find it somewhere else too. Or ChatGPT is also helpful. So for here, we're in September, right? And you can see that September 30th is when the first unlock is going to happen for the investors. And then on Halloween, the treasury is going to start being able to unlock. And it shows you how much, 5 million, 5.3 million to the treasury, 9.3 million to investors. And then the very next month, 13 and 8 million, and then 10 million to the team, right? So every month that goes by is more and more tokens being unlocked. So while I am really, really bullish on Zora, and I do hold it as a part of my portfolio, just being transparent, it's not as a big of a portion in my portfolio as it would be if it weren't unlocks coming. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, I'm expecting a blow off top here in Q4, Q1, you know, supply and demand, right? For any markets to see or any asset to see an all-time high, two things have to happen simultaneously. You have to have an increase in demand, aka a new pool of buyers entering the market for the first time, because historic demand isn't going to bring prices to new highs. And then simultaneously, you have to have a supply that can't meet that demand. So in this case, if the supply is constantly increasing, you know, demand has to increase that much more. And I'm not saying it's not possible, because one thing that I like is that in order to buy any creator coin, you have to buy Zora. So people are going to be having to buy Zora by default. So this is different things that's causing buy pressure. And, you know, it's a really good project. Coinbase is backing it. But you do want to be aware of the tokenomics, because these investors are most likely going to sell as they're being unlocked, especially if markets are green.